Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to the final episode of Fendt Farm Series 1. So it's time for the big sell-off. It's time for us to close down this farm, sell off all the grain that we have stored away in our silos, and then once that's done, we'll come to an arrangement with the farmer who'll be taking over this property to work out, the financial details of everything else that will be sold and included. The grain that we're going to be selling will form the backbone of our starting funds for season 2 of Fendt Farm. And then, some of the equipment we'll be selling. Some of it will be staying behind, and it'll be up to the next farmer to choose what he does with that. But it's time for us to kind of start breaking things down. So let's just take a look, first of all, at the current market prices and see what we have and what we need to, what we can get for it. So we're going to keep the straw. That is staying. The next farmer will be taking over certain parts of the farm, and some of the stuff we'll be leaving behind for him. So we'll keep the straw behind for him. We'll keep the bales that we've already created down by the cowshed for him as well. We will come to some understanding and negotiated price on the livestock. That will be remaining, but there will be a negotiated price that will be added into our final tally. And in terms of grain, you can see we've got 93,500 litres of barley to sell, just over 6,000 litres of wheat, 37,000 litres or so of canola, 34,000 litres of sunflowers, 57,500 litres of soybean, just under 60,000 litres of corn. So we've got quite a lot of stuff that we can sell off here. And to start with, we've got a really nice price on sunflowers. So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to sell our sunflowers off. So we'll get all that filling away. Let's put our beacons on. And it's kind of bittersweet, I think, finishing off the way we are on this map. I've really enjoyed Drumard Farm. It's been a fun map, but we're getting closer and closer to the release of the West Coast on console, and that is where Fendt Farm is going to be relocating to. So it's kind of time, I think, time for us to move on and say goodbye to our fun little Irish farm that we've had here. And as I say, we've got a new farmer that will be moving in and sort of taking over certain aspects. So we'll be bringing in some of his own equipment, and the rest will be sort of being swapped out or replaced. And we'll be taking the money that we have over with us to the West Coast and setting up a new farm over there. And we'll have a choice of a few different homesteads where we can actually get going as well. Obviously, we're going to be sharing the map with Massey Manor. The red farm the blue farm I've already allocated to Massey Manor. That's going to be the starting farm, I think, for Massey Manor. So we'll see what we do with Fendt Farm. There will be a few different ones to choose from. There'll be 3 different homesteads that we can choose as our starting homestead. We may well go with the red one. That will have its own pre-built silo. But with the mods that we have available to us now, in terms of some of the placeables, like the grain silo and the forage and chips silo, we can actually create a farm pretty much anywhere we want now. So any existing farms that don't have silos are no longer an issue for us. We can actually just turn those into fully functioning farms, because we now have those placeables where we can actually store our grain and our forage, etc. Plus, we also have obviously the seed tank and fertilizer tank placeables as well. The only thing we're kind of missing really is a fuel tank placeable. That's pretty much the only thing that we're missing now to create a farm completely and entirely from scratch. Right, which one of these 2 sell points do we need? Sell point number 1. So that's this one on the far side. We do, of course, have to pay off our loan as well. So our final financial tally won't be as high as it could be, because we do still have over 200,000 euros of debt that needs to be serviced, as you can see there. So it's not like we'll be taking a vast fortune with us to the west coast. Obviously, we still owe quite a considerable amount of money. And there we go. That's our sunflowers sold off. So let's see what's next. The next thing would be to sort of take the tractor back to the farm, speed time up, and see which price goes good next. So I'm going to sort of head my way back over to Drummond, sort of central farm, get ready to take the next set of crops and speed some time up. And while we're doing that as well, we'll also probably put our some of our equipment on, you know, online up for sale. You know, the sort of farmer equivalent of Auto Trader, I suppose. Let's see if we can come to an agreement with another farmer for a good price on our equipment. Obviously, some of it has been used a lot more heavily than others, so it is going to vary quite dramatically in value from what it'd be worth brand new. But we'll get as good a price as we can for selling off our equipment. We will take maybe a little bit of equipment with us. Probably it's going to be quicker and easier for us to just sell what we have and then buy new equipment when we get to where we're going. So yeah, definitely something to think about there. Yeah, I'm going to miss this map. I've had a lot of fun on it, and it's quite ironic actually. You know, I remember when I first started this series, I said it would probably run for around 40 episodes, and I was just pulling a number out of the air, and it just so happens that we are running for exactly 40 episodes. I didn't think it would, you know, maybe make this much progress. You know, oh, we got wedged. There we go. I didn't honestly think we'd make as much progress. I mean, obviously, back when I first started recording, this was my very first Let's Play. My very first one. And when I first started recording, I was doing just straight sit down, record 45 minutes of straight action, and then stick an intro on it and an outro on it, and that was pretty much it. So the farm was only advancing 45 minutes at a time per episode. Now, you know, with the way that we've been sort of editing since about halfway through the series, you know, we've been making considerably more progress with each episode. We've been able to get much more work done. Some episodes have been, you know, an hour and a half worth of footage condensed into a sort of a 45-minute video. Some have been multiple hours, you know, 4 or 5 hours worth of video, even 6 I think on one occasion, sort of condensed down into just a single episode of 45 minutes. So we've made quite a lot of progress in, as time has sort of marched on. And there's no way we could have got the farm to the position it's in without having done that. You know, we would still be a long way back. You know, we wouldn't have anywhere near the amount of livestock we have. We wouldn't necessarily have as much equipment as we do. We certainly wouldn't have as many fields as we do. So, yeah, it's been kind of interesting. And obviously, we've had some interesting little experiments that we've tried on the series as well. I mean, we tried to use the ITR the Biobelts ITR truck when that first came out. This was the farm that we tried it on, and it proved very unstable, and and it didn't last very long. It lasted one episode, and that was quite an expensive waste of money. Obviously, we got most of the money back once we sort of resold the equipment, but obviously there was the expenses of buying all that stuff and then getting not quite all of it back. You know, every item there was a percentage of money lost, so it turned out to be quite an expensive little failed experiment. Not every story will be a success, but I have had some real fun experimenting with some mods. Obviously, we've been using the Keenan feeder on this map, which I absolutely adore. You know, I picked that one because You know, it was an Irish branded company, and it was a small little, just a small little feeding wagon, which I thought would be ideal for this farm, and it turned out to be brilliant, and I absolutely loved it. I hadn't used it before this map, and it turned out to be one of my all-time favourite mods on console. I absolutely love the thing. I remember when I had it installed, before I used it the first time, before I had it on this map, I installed it and looked at it, and back then it was the lizard feeder, so it only had like a 6,500 litre capacity. I don't think it was even 6,500 litres, but it was tiny in comparison to what it is now. Absolutely tiny. Got a lot of grass here. We can give this to our cows, who have no grass left at all. They are fully topped up on TMR, and they've still got a decent amount of straw. I think enough water to keep them going, but obviously no grass left. It's all sat there, look. And obviously I've been playing around with some of the smaller equipment as well. We've done quite a lot of bale wrapping on this farm, which has been quite cool. I got to use the Massey great, you know, sort of pallet trailer for wool, and that turned out to be absolutely perfect as a wool transport system. Just the right size in terms of length for transporting, you know, wool pallets, because unless you've got, you know, a huge number of sheep, you don't produce wool that quickly. So it's just perfect. Every time we got a great demand, it was never for more than 6 to 8 pallets. It's the most we've ever had at any one time. So it was the perfect size for that. We've had the chance to use some smaller equipment. We didn't really get to use much in the way of manure, which was a bit of a shame. Oh, look at that, we've got a great demand for corn. Oh, that's perfect timing. So let's slow time down, and let's jump back to our Black Beauty. Let's sell our corn. That was perfect timing. And we've got 2.5 trailers worth to sell, or 2 and a bit trailers worth to sell. We didn't end up using as much of the map as I was hoping we would do, and we obviously had the potential to do some logging with this map. You know, had those lovely clearings that could have worked really well for logging. We just didn't get into it, and the reason was I was doing logging on American Outback a little bit. Well, no, not American Outback, sorry. I was doing logging on Big Bud Farm, and I didn't really want to do that as well on all of my farms. I wanted to have a little bit of difference between each farm, so you were seeing different stuff. And having just built the logging area, you know, built my little forest on Mustang Valley, I didn't really want to have to then go into logging on this map at the same time. But next time, we'll end up probably doing a bit of logging, I think, on Fendt Farm on the west coast. Especially because, you know, later in the year, we're going to get that forestry pack from Black Sheep, the Liebherr 902. Really looking forward to that coming, and that's going to have loads of great little forestry implements as well, including that stump grinder, which looks brilliant. It'll be really useful, not only for getting rid of stumps, but you could also use it for tearing up the ground a little bit, for creating pathways and maybe even sort of removing some weeds and bushes and stuff. And on top of that, you know, I think it could also potentially work on a tree that's been felled, and we could actually just grind the tree up bit by bit. That would be kind of cool to see if it works that way. Oops, a little bit of a wobble there. So we're going to sell off our corn. Hopefully we'll get a decent price. We've got another, what, 13,000, I think, maybe? Still to collect. If we're lucky, our grain is going to kind of cover. I'm going to be cheeky. I'm just going to drive the wrong way this time. sick of hitting that truck on the way out. I'm going to just drive past it on the way in this time and go out the other way. Which sale point do we need? I think we need number 2 this time. We do, so that's this one. There we go. So we'll sell off our grain. Is there anything else that we can sell at the same time? Our canola's not bad, actually. We might go back and sell the canola straight afterwards. And say we're lucky. This, you know, selling all of our grain will service the loan debt that we have, and then, you know, we can negotiate a price with the next farmer for our land, the livestock, and any equipment that he wants to keep, and then we can obviously sell off some of our other equipment, and then that will be, you know, what will be our starting setup fund. And obviously most of that will immediately get reinvested straight into land on the west coast. So it'll be entirely up to us, you know, what fields we start with. Because the blue farm is the central starting point on that map. And that's where Massey Man is going to be starting. That farm's going to start first. Probably by a day or maybe even a week. And we'll be going in on, probably, not 100% convinced yet, it'll definitely happen, but we'll probably be going in on the red farm, which is a little bit further down and across. And I'm going to see if I can get through here. Yes, we can make it. Beautiful. We're going to be starting on the red farm, so we're going to have no fields attached to that farm itself. So we'll have free choice, effectively, of where we want to, you know, which fields we want to start with. So the negotiated price that we can agree on for all of our land here, plus, you know, the livestock and whatever equipment is being kept, will determine how much money we have to spend on land, and then have some money left over for equipment on the west coast. Obviously we can't just go straight land for land, because then we'll have no money left outside of a fresh $200,000 loan or so to actually start up on the next location. So you're going to have to be careful on that one. How much do we have? 37,000. It's less than 2 trailers. Is there anything else that we can sell partially? Yes, we can sell those sugar beets. And those were the bane of my life, those sugar beets. We spent all that money and all that time to get those sugar beets for our pigs. And it turns out we barely needed any sugar beets at all. So that one harvest that we did, we ended up with, I think, something like 18,000 litres. Then we needed less than 1,000 litres just to just to finish off our pig feed. We ended up doing way more work than was absolutely necessary. And before I forget, I'm going to grab these eggs. So we were going to have a sell-off. I wonder how many eggs we've actually got in our backpack now. Is that all of them? Let's have a look. That's all of the eggs in the coop. We have 285. Wow, it's a lot more than I thought. I thought we'd only have like 160, 180 at the most. We really have got an awful lot of eggs. I'm really sort of curious as to how much we're going to get for those. Because, I mean, eggs are worth so little. Or at least they were in 15. I'm assuming they're worth very, very little. It's been so long since I've actually tried to sell eggs on 17 that I genuinely cannot remember how much we're getting. But this is a hard playthrough as well, so the prices are going to be rubbish, let's face it. And 285 is a lot of eggs, but, you know, when you're selling them for a rubbish amount of money, then it doesn't matter how many you've got, it's still going to amount to a rubbish amount of money. Let's stop off on the way to delivering here and see just how much. We've got an egg sell point here in the village that we've never ever used. Just here, look. So let's stop off. Let's jump out. Look at that, wow, a mighty 1,600 euros. See, it baffles me. I mean, we had chickens. We could kind of run them as a business, sort of. Not a particularly profitable one, but we could run them as a business in Farming Sim 15. In 17, they are worthless, utterly worthless, because you cannot change how many chickens that you have. You know, it's just such a waste. What was the point in putting them in? I don't understand. I really don't. Okay, so what are we selling? We're selling corn and the last of our sugar beets. They both want sale area too. There we go. So there goes the last of the corn. And the sugar beets. There we go. So, how much of our loan have we managed to pay off? We've got 125,000 euros left to pay off. We're actually not far from where we started, obviously, because this is a hard farm. We started with $100,000, or 100,000 euros, sorry, of debt already as part of our loan. So, in theory, if we stick to that, we only have 25,000 more euros of debt to pay off, and then we're back to where we started. So, I might do that and just leave it at 100,000 euros of debt. Say, because that's how much we started this map with anyway, so yeah, let's think about that. Alright, so canola is next. That's the next grain for us to sell off. I'm really hoping that we can get a nice tidy little nest egg from the remaining grains, but we're starting to run out. I mean, we've still got the soybean to sell, and I'm waiting for the right price on the soybean. We had, what, 1,400 earlier. That's not high enough for me. We can get a better price than that. So if it means, you know, sort of jumping ahead and running time for a few days until we get to that point, then so be it. That gives me time as well to negotiate equipment and land values with the farmer that'll be taking over on Fendt Farm here on Dromard. Allows me to negotiate what equipment he'll be taking, what equipment we'll be selling off, and negotiate a decent price and a fair price for all the land that we've you know, added since this farm started. What are we wedged on? I keep getting caught on that corner. Keep turning a little bit too early. So used to doing it with just a single trailer, and I should be used to doing it with dual trailers because I've been running them for so long on this farm. I keep making that mistake. Oops. Alright, so let's see. Canola next. Oh, we've got quite a lot of barley as well. Forgot about the barley. How's the barley price looking? Looks like we missed the better price. That's going down now. It's still not a great price. It's still only white price. We'll hang on. And again, we'll see if we can get a better price before we sell the barley. And this is all of our canola. And we want, is it 1? Sale area 1? Yes, sale area 1. So let's take all this over now and sell this. So for those of you that have been watching the series since the early days, what have been your favourite memories of Fendt Farm? You know, for those of you that have played on this map, what have you enjoyed about it? Let me know in the comments. You know, for me, I love the small farm feel. I love the map, the fact that the map is not that big. You know, it doesn't overwhelm you. You can move around with small equipment and not feel dwarfed. You know, it's ideal for running just, you know, small to medium-sized equipment. It doesn't really suit, you know, those large tractors and those large combines. and those huge, great big plows, and those, you know, massive cultivators and seeders. You know, it all works really nicely with small to medium-sized equipment. That for me has been my favourite part of this. You know, I like a nice little small farm map, and we don't have that many on console. There's this one, and then there's Oldstream, and that's kind of really about it. And even Oldstream isn't that small anymore after that big expansion that added in those massive fields. For me, while it's a nice little expansion and it's it's still fun to play, it completely changed the tone of the map. And part of me still wishes that I'd never actually installed the update. Not only because I lost a lot of progress on my farm that couldn't be retrieved, but certain parts of Oldstream, the landscaping obviously changed, and it just, for me, it spoiled part of the flow. And I kind of wish I'd never installed that expansion and just left it as it was. Of course, on console, we don't have the opportunity to roll back. Once we update a mod, that's it. We can't uninstall the update. So if we uninstall the mod, all we can ever do is just download the most up-to-date version. So I'm kind of stuck in limbo at the moment with the BSM hook that's just been updated. The 850 Legend was updated yesterday to change the way the hook package works, and I'm currently using the first version of that on Mustang Valley, so that I can actually use the hook attachment with my Terra variant. And of course, I won't be able to do that going forward if I were to update, because the hook is built into the truck. So it becomes one of two options. You can now get the truck with the hook or the truck without the hook, and that's it. There is no removable hook attachment anymore for that mod. So if I update that, I immediately break the hook lifting stuff that I've got on Mustang Valley, which means I have to kind of get rid of the hook lift completely, because I'm not buying another Legend truck just to run a small hook lift. I wanted to have the hook lift attachment with my Terra variant, because my Terra variant is going to be used for sugar beets as well. I don't want to have to buy... I mean, I suppose I could get rid of the 950 Legend with the sleeper cab and replace it with an 850 Legend. But then, because the hook isn't removable, yeah, I don't like the idea of doing that. So it looks as though I'm just going to have to not update the mod. It means I've heard some differing results as well. I've heard some people say it's better. I've heard some people say it's more unstable. And obviously I can't download and try it out for myself, because, as I say, the second I do that, I'm committed to that. And even if I uninstall and then reinstall, I'll only ever get that again. So I'm kind of stuck. I can't try the expansion out. Well, sorry, I can't try the upgrade of that mod out at all. It's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. Right, so I'm going to speed time up and see how we do for a price on our barley. We also have anything else to sell? It's just our soybean now. Our soybean, our barley, and that little bit of corn. Sorry, a little bit of wheat. So I'm going to speed time up, try and get a better price, and I'll come back to you once that's done. So I've done a little bit of housekeeping with our animals, just to keep them ticking over while we are accelerating time and selling off our crops. I've been cleaning up. I've had to dump a couple of hay bales up here as food for the sheep, and then any leftover grass that comes out from here, like that bit there, and obviously what's loaded in the bucket already, I'm going to dump into our cows so that they will have an increasing amount of grass there as well. Saves me having to go out and do some mowing. We also have a new great demand. Well, we've got a couple of great demands. We've got one for spuds, which is useless because we don't have any spuds, but we have another wool great demand. So we have a couple of pallets here and one that's partially growing. We'll leave that one behind as a little gift to the next farmer. But we have 2 pallets of wool here which we're going to take off and sell. This will give us a nice extra little bit of money. And it'll give us a chance to sell off the tractor as well. Been negotiating, and the new farmer does not want any of the vehicles, but he does want to keep majority of all the implements and equipment. So that's kind of all going to stay. The vehicles themselves and some of the trailers and stuff, they're going to get sold off. So we'll make some money on those. The dealership has already offered me a decent trade-in price on this little 800 favourite. It's the most recent addition to our fleet. Last in, first out. It seems, this is the first one that we're going to sell off. But we will be bringing the favourite back when we move to the west coast. That'll probably be the main tractor that we start with. A couple of those. Maybe start with a little 300 Vario as well. So it's time to say goodbye to this particular tractor for now. But we'll be featuring this very heavily on season 2 of Fendt Farm. And here we are at the sell point. And there goes our wool. Just the 2 pallets to sell, but we'll get a nice little bit of extra cash for these, an extra 14 to 15,000 per pallet. There we go. So just under 30,000 there. That's a nice little financial boost. Now we'll drop these at the store on the way back. We won't be using either of these again. And as already indicated, the new farmer will be replacing, will be bringing his own sort of vehicles in, so we are free to do what we want with these, which means we're going to sell them. So lights off, engine off. Time to say goodbye to the pair of these two. We're going to get just under 80,000 for our 800 favourite, and an extra 5.5 for the trailer. So we're starting to build quite a nice little nest egg here. If we speed time up a bit more as well, you can see the price for barley is starting to climb on one of the sell points, and all that's left apart from the barley really is the soybean, which is a pretty terrible price at the moment. So let's just get that time sped up, start making some moves on that. And we're going to top up with more barley here. And while that's happening, we are going to sell the combine. So this has served us really, really quite well, really faithfully. See there, we're making a little bit of profit there with our milk, covering our daily expenses. Just a little bit of profit when the cows were running below 100% for part of the day, where they just completely ran out of both food, in terms of grass and straw and water. Their productivity just dropped to 0. Obviously they're back up and running again now, so that will improve. But it's time to sell this this old girl. I say she's been with us from day one. We never got to a point where we needed to go with a larger Fendt harvester. This was more than adequate for this particular farm. But on West Coast, we'll probably start with one of these, and then we will upgrade to a larger model as our farm progresses. We'll have some bigger fields to work with and a lot more ground to cover, so a bigger combine will be kind of more of a necessity. One thing that I am going to miss though is the ability to have this nice standard header trailer here with no pivoting axle. Means it's much easier to maneuver with. We don't have to worry about this really long header trailer, you know, getting stuck through gates anywhere near as much as we would do. It's much easier to back up into a shed, given that there is no pivoting axle. It's just a straight reverse. You can see we're holding traffic up a little bit here, but that's to be expected. It's kind of a sad day to get rid of this combine. As I say, I've used it an awful lot. It's been kind of a love-hate relationship at times. I mean, I love the size of it. I love I love using it. It's a great little combine to use, but I hated the fact that for whatever reason it just sits lower than the Massey variant of this. So I always had problems unloading that header off that trailer, where they would just get caught up on each other. And I ended up having to drag the trailer around or drive over the top of it to try and get the header off. It was never consistently easy to work with in that respect. But she has served me proud. So here we go, the final journey of our faithful combine, as I say, served us so well on our time here on Dromard. Let's drop her off and back up the combine, and this should bring in a nice amount of money. You can see we've put what, 16.5 hours on this thing, so a fair bit of time has gone into using this, but we'll still get 100 grand for it. Plus there's the headers as well, and the header trailer. So that's all added up to quite a nice little amount there. You can see we've added an extra, what, 160,000. It's quite a nice little addition to our funds there. Let's pay off the last bit of our loan as well. We've got... oops, I got too far. There we go. So we're back to where we started with our loan. We started with a $100,000 loan. We'll finish with a $100,000 loan. So what we're looking at now is kind of profit. And what are we looking like price-wise on our crops? Well, there's still nothing really good. I'm going to accelerate time again. You can see that rock bottom price on soybean is going up, and you can see that the price on corn is, not corn, sorry, wheat is going up, although we practically have no wheat left to sell. Barley is kind of stagnated a little bit, so we'll check in again in a moment and see what we end up with price-wise. Time for us to sell the barley. We're not really going to get much better of a price than we've got already, so 521 euros. Plus we have a €512 backup for the second set of trailers as well. This is probably about as good as we're going to get without a great demand. So we're going to sell the barley off. What I've also done is I've also transported up all the rest of the equipment that we're going to be selling off. All the various different local farmers that are interested in the equipment have made arrangements. Prices have been settled, and then the store is going to act as our middleman in that, facilitating the exchange of the equipment and the sale of the equipment for us. So all that's ready to sort of be sold off. All they're piled up, ready and waiting. We're going to finish off with our grain sale. We have the soybean left on top of that as well. I'm going to get through without clipping it just this one time. I've hit the lamppost instead. And I've still clipped it. Oh, God, I hate this pickup truck. This is one thing I will not miss on this map, is that pickup truck being stuck just there. Oh, so frustrating. Most annoying thing ever. But yeah, all of that equipment is now spoken for by other farmers, you know, up and down the region. So we just need to actually go back to the store and finalise each of those sales, put pen to paper on the various contracts, etc., etc., and change of ownership deeds. And we've come to an understanding with the farmer who's going to be taking over on Dromard as well, a financial understanding. We're going to be getting paid 350,000 euros for the livestock, and additional 550 euros for the land itself and the remaining equipment. So we'll be getting a nice 900,000 euro payday from the farm itself that we'll be selling. Couple that with the money that we're getting from our equipment plus the grain, means we're going to have quite a nice little nest egg to actually start the next farm with. It means we'll be able to expand and start with quite a nice, good selection of equipment and fields, hopefully. Depends just how expensive the West Coast is going to be. And of course, we'll also have a couple $100,000 worth of, or a couple £100,000 worth of loans that we can take out as well. There may be a slight fluctuation in the exact amount that we have there based on currency conversion. Obviously, we're in Ireland here, so this is in euros. When we head back to mainland UK, to the West Coast, we'll be using pound sterling. So there will be a little bit of fluctuation in the currency. And it looks like we're going to have just a tiny little bit of barley left over. We'll probably just leave that for the previous, for the next farmer. We're going to leave the wheat as well. 6,000 is nothing. So all that's left now is our soybean. And we don't have a fantastic price, but it's not a bad price. We're going to speed time up once we've dropped these off. And this is the final day. We can't go past this day. So because we've now pretty much run out of foodstuffs for our animals. So the longer now we prolong it, the more we're going to harm the animals. And obviously that's going to affect, the value of them and how much money we'll get from, for them from the farmer. So we don't own them anymore. So this is D-Day. We need to be out by 6 p.m. So we only have a few hours left, as you can see. Gives us a little bit of flexibility in terms of how much time we have left to get the soybean transported, but once that's done, that's it, we're out. So this is the last of our barley here, and I'm not sure which price we're going to be using. Are we going to be using sell point 1 or 2? I'll check as soon as we pull up to the sale area. The Fendt 900 Black Beauty is going to be getting sold, as are these two trailers as well. They are also already accounted for. We have buyers lined up, ready and waiting. Should get a nice price on the Black Beauty. Won't be a stunningly good price because we have used it for 8 hours already, so that's going to have a serious knock-on effect on the value. But sale area 2, so we'll use sale area 2 for this one. And then we'll check for the final trailer whether we stay at this sell point or just pop round the corner. Looks as though we're going to be using this. Oh, no, now we're finished. Yeah, we're going to be using this one again. So there we go. Now we've just got the soybean to deal with. While that's unloading, let's just finalise a couple of these items. It's all lined up here. One farmer has expressed an interest in a job lot here. So we've got our seeder, our sprayer, our baling equipment, and a cultivator. This is all going to one individual farmer here. So selling these bits off. You can see our seeder's getting a nice price. Our baler's getting a decent price as well. So a nice extra bit of cash there. And then this is going to another farmer along with that seeder and that plough. And then this setup is going to another farmer. And then our Black Beauty with trailers is going to another farmer. So lots of local interest in all of our equipment. Obviously we'll be in touch with AGCO and Fendt, the local Fendt dealership, when we move to the west coast, so we can bring in some new Fendt equipment for the new farm. But it's time to go get the remaining grain that we have. So I will see you in just a moment. So here we are with our soybean, and rather disappointingly, €1,371 is the best we're going to get. We didn't really get a particularly good price at any point. Certainly not one that was going to make us a lot of really good money. So we're going to have to settle for a pretty average kind of price to sell off the last of our soybean. We have a little bit left in storage, as you can see. We've got 7,500. We are actually going to collect that, and we're going to collect the last of the wheat as well. We'll leave the barley, but we'll take the last of the wheat. So while that is unloading there, let's jump over here and sell off the second batch of equipment to the next farmer. He's now turned up to take ownership. He's going to get a lot of nice equipment here for a pretty reasonable price. There we go. So that's his batch worth of equipment that's gone. Time for us to now move the last remaining lot that's here at the store into the sell point. Get that sold off. This farmer will be turning up shortly. And we have a last little bit of grain to go and collect. And that's it. That's the last of our grain. A little bit of soybean in the front container, a little bit of wheat in the back container. One more trip to the store to sell these, and then it's off to the dealership with this equipment to hand the keys over to the new owners. They'll be taking this back to their own farm and putting it to good use. I'm gonna have one last drive in the cab. It's such a nice cab inside these larger Fendts. Everything's laid out really nicely. You see all the controls are nice and easy to hand. Love that screen as well. Nice little readout on there. And the mirrors are placed quite nicely on this tractor as well. Enable us to get a nice good view of the surrounding. Alright, so which sell points do we want? This one, I think. Let's see, 1326, sell point 1, yes, and sell point 2 around the... well, this is sell point 2, so this is for our wheat, so this is for the second trailer. There goes the wheat. There goes the soybean. And while that's going on... Oh, we have the 700 Vario. We haven't agreed a deal with anyone for the 700 yet. Okay. We'll have to put some emergency feelers out, see if we can find someone who'll be interested in buying that. Meanwhile, let's confirm the sale of this now. So 300 Vario, we're getting 65,000 for that. That's not bad. Of course, got the little attachments there to go with it as well, so around 70,000 in total. And then another 13.9, so 14,000 euros is effectively for that trailer. Didn't see much use that. It was in very, very good condition. But now it's time to take these over to the dealership and say goodbye to our trans trailers and the Black Beauty. Oh, still clip the truck. I was trying so hard not to do that. So here we go then. Can I pull everything in just about? So there goes the first trailer, there goes the second trailer, and finally the Black Beauty, an extra 210,000 euros. There we go. So now we need to hook up to a laptop, and we need to get in touch with somebody as quick as we can about selling off that remaining tractor. Well, a little bit of tinkering. We've changed the configuration of the wheels, and the new owner, we have managed to find a new owner very hastily. Wants it with wide wheels, so we fitted wide wheels. Time to take this to the store. This is the last piece of equipment left to sell. There's been a few other little bits and bobs that other farmers have actually come and collected from us, some old weights and a few miscellaneous little items. But this is the last big piece of equipment to go, and because it's been such a hastily organised sale, we're not going to get a particularly good price. But as I say, we do need to be out by 6 o'clock. And as you can see, time has ticked over. We are now sort of ready to say goodbye to the farm completely. Real bit of a shame, but like I say, I've had a lot of fun on this map. And no doubt it'll serve the next farmer very well. But it is time for us to move on. So here we go. Arriving at the dealership. And let's confirm the sale. And there we go, just 66,500 for this particular tractor. There we go. And that's it. That is the end of Fendt Farm. So, as you can see, we've raised 1.269 million euros. And we have an additional 900,000 euros on top of that for the land and livestock. So that gives us a rather nice 2.1 million euros to play about with when we start on the west coast. It means we'll be able to have a nice selection of equipment. We'll also be able to get a nice selection of fields in there as well. Definitely looking forward to relocating over. Obviously, that'll fluctuate a little bit, with the price of the euro against the pound, but around £2 million is what we're going to have to play about with. So quite a nice, hefty amount of cash. So that's the end of Fendt Farm Season 1. I hope you've enjoyed this series here on Drummard Farm. I know I have, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon when Series 2 kicks off, when the West Coast finally comes to console. So. That's all for me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will see you with Fendt Farm Season 2 very soon.